Kevin is our most recent graduate from team. He graduated back in, I think it was January or February. And so Kevin and I are going to just hang out up here on the stools, and I'm just going to ask Kevin a few questions about his time in team. What was it? What was your life like before you got into the team program?
Our life, my wife and I's life were really what I would call kind of a train wreck in our financial and how we were dealing with things. And I was pretty well checked out of anything that had to do with finances. I allowed my wife to do all that. I didn't take any ownership of some of that, and then would also be blaming her when things went south, and not taking any kind of accountability for that. I know that we were getting in some very bad financial issues where we were spending a lot of money at Starbucks, going to restaurants, not paying our bills the way we should be paying them. She started to get frustrated, and then she kind of checked out with it. So with both of us not being a part of it, we were drowning. We were literally drowning in it, and that's kind of where we were at with our finances.
So what was it that brought you to Love Inc. then?
Well, the things that brought me to Love Inc. Is that my in-laws kind of stepped in regarding that, and they knew some other relatives of ours that knew about Love Inc. And they were actually asking them to help me with the assisting, but they didn't have the know-how to be able to step up and do that for me, which I totally understood. But they did bring up Love Inc. I didn't know about the program. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what they did, what else they did, any of that information I did not know. So, when I started to talk about that in itself is the reason that I ended up going, is because I got word of mouth from my in-laws.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest hurdle during your time in team?
Wow, this is going to be a long one. The biggest hurdle was a lot of life stuff that happened during the course of that. One of the things is that we were in a position right at the beginning of Love Inc. where we were having to move out of one rental into another. We ended up moving into that rental, and we didn't have a lot of money, but we had enough to be able to make it by. When we moved there to the new rental, I guess it was used kind of as a squatting place that we didn't know about. So my son and I ended up going to take a bunch of our boxes and everything over there, and we locked it up, did everything that we were supposed to do, and about a few days later, I went back and I saw that the light was on in the bathroom, which I knew I turned it off, and so I went to turn it off, and then I turned around and there was a homeless guy in our rental. And then when I looked over, there was nothing left. It was all gone. So we lost that. That was the start of Love Inc. for at first because of that, you know. And here we are trying to get our finances in order, and that was kind of a big setback. But that was part of it. We also one of our family members also was dealing with some things that we had to deal with, which added to the emotional, that I can't really go into so much, but that added to some of the emotional stuff. And also, and you touched on it earlier, but one of the things that we ended up losing our heat during that time, and it was cold in our house and everything, and Love Inc., supplied us with the blankets and stuff that until they got out there and fixed it. So But that's what happened during the course of the time we were there. So we had a lot of stuff that Satan was up against us on it, trying to fight us on this, like the way that we were living before and didn't want to mess with it. So that's kind of what happened with that.
So how did you see God work through all of that to help get you through it?
Well, the main thing is that the compassion. We didn't always. I will say we didn't always do it the right way. We did a lot of things the wrong way. With all the stuff and the emotional turmoil and everything that we were dealing with, just the love and compassion of Love Inc. and how they stood by us. They didn't condemn anything that was going on, and that meant a lot more than anything else, because I was always afraid to walk in there, knowing that there were certain times where I felt like I wasn't doing it the right way, but I went ahead and did it anyway. I went because I knew that I had to, and it was never like that. So it was really good that yes, they're strict. They want you to be on the path, but that's kind of where we were at with that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what was it that surprised you about your time in team?
I think the main thing that surprised me was the extra classes. When I first went to Love Inc., I was financial driven. I wanted to get that part. I didn't know anything about boundaries or any of that, and didn't know that I really needed it. I felt like, well, what's the point of this, that we had this second hour of all these classes? I found out very quickly that when you're in a financial situation, you put yourself there. And there's got to be some other mental things that are dealing with that's hurting you. So I understood after very quickly that it was very important that we go through the boundaries, we go through anger management, because I dealt with some of that as well. So I mean, there's a lot of things that were definitely needed in my life that I didn't know I needed. I mean, obviously, we all need, some help in some ways, but that was really the surprise for me, and it was a welcome surprise. Yeah.
Good. All right. So just one more question for you, Kevin. You have a captive audience here, a group of people whose hearts are already primed to give.
Right.
What would you say to them? Why is Love Inc. something that's worth investing in?
I think that, and especially, talking about, because one of the big things that they do is finances. And I know that they do a lot of other things, but one of the big things is the finances. And why I think that it's very important is that we're living in an economy right now where a lot of people are not probably doing it the right way, and are drowning in this. And there's a lot of debt. There's a lot of people that need help. I think that financially, any help can be given, and it would really be appreciated because of what they are doing here. I benefited a lot from that, and just to add to what I said earlier about the whole blankets and stuff, that kind of thing would never. They could never do without your support. So it's really important that they keep driving, because there's people that are going to walk through those doors that need it. Besides me, I seen people before I got there, or when I got there, and then I saw people after I left that are still doing it, and these classes are doing really well and benefiting a lot of people. They also, another reason is that besides the extra stuff that we got during the cold season that we were able to use, they also provide you with different cards or food or something of that nature. That they have a lot of abilities to do that again, without your support, it couldn't be done. So, I mean, there's a lot of need for that. You would be surprised how much need there is for that when you actually, when you walk through there, you think you're the only one that has a financial issue, and you find out that really quickly there's a lot more of that. So, yeah, there's a big need for that.
Thank you very much, Kevin.